Tasha Stevens. Senator Tom Cotton says President Biden is wrong to say he finds fault with both sides of the anti-Israel student demonstrations.
He can't draw a strong distinction between anti-Semitic mobs on the one hand and people who understand there are civilian casualties in Gaza, but that those civilian casualties are the responsibility of Hamas, not Israel.
Senator Cotton spoke this week with Salem Radio Network. A new investigation finds that leftist billionaire George Soros is funding the agitators behind the radical anti-Israel protests nationwide. According to the New York Post, copycat tent cities at Harvard, Yale, Berkeley, Ohio State, and Emory in Georgia were organized by Hamas-supported and Soros-funded Students for Justice in Palestine. At 3 colleges, the protests are being led by paid radicals who are fellows of a Soros-funded group called the U.S. Campaign for Palestinian Rights. The radical group received at least $300,000 from Soros's Open Society Foundation since 2017, and they also took $355,000 from the Rockefeller Brothers Fund since 2019. Also at SRN News, political pushback on a proposed ban on a type of cigarettes popular with Black Americans.
The Biden administration is indefinitely delaying a long-awaited ban on menthol cigarettes.
It has anesthetic properties and qualities that help mask the harshness and irritation of tobacco smoke.
The FDA says it would prevent hundreds of thousands of smoking-related deaths over 40 years. Health Secretary Javier Becerra gave no timeline for issuing the rule, saying more time is needed to consider feedback, including from civil rights groups. About 80% of Black smokers use menthol. Ed Donahue, Washington.
Critics say the delay is the fact that this is an election year. This is SRN News.
The following program is sponsored by the law offices of Patrick L. Smith. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. Get ready with your legal questions and call Patrick now. 877-943-9673. Again, that's 877-943-9673. The law office is open. And now your host, Patrick Smith.
Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. Hey, Yamika, what feed is it? We have so many stations that carry the show. I don't know what feed is in my ear. What station is that? Right?
WTBN.
WTBN. I'm very worried about the SRN News lady. Did you hear the despondency in her voice at the end of that? It was very much, this is SRN News. Like, it's very concerning the way she signed off. Like that was
She
shocking.
tries to sound serious. That's all.
Well, she sailed past serious. It was despondent. I was a little concerned. Anyway, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. I'm your host, Attorney Patrick Smith, and welcome to all of our new listeners. For those of you who are brand new to the show, this is your one-stop shop for all things legal every Saturday morning, 8 to 9. We answer all your legal questions absolutely free of charge. To be part of today's show, to get screened and in the queue to ask your legal question, you can give us a call, 877-943-9673. 877-943-9673. I want to start off with a couple of thank you items. Thank you to Stephanie Kalagridis, who was a participant in our last and most recent installment of Estate Planning Around the Nation when we did Florida and Pennsylvania comparison and analysis. And Stephanie absolutely knocked it out of the park. And everyone sort of just confirmed that with their follow-up and comments. So we very much enjoyed having Stephanie on the show and look forward to having her back in the future on maybe a follow-up segment about Pennsylvania law. We had a lot of Pennsylvania law issues we did not get to, so we could do an entire another show. So looking forward to talking to Stephanie again and also working actively on our next installment as far as which state goes. And just so you know how that goes, we have to find a licensed attorney in that jurisdiction. It's not just about a licensed attorney, but it's a licensed attorney who has the requisite knowledge we need. And then the trickiest part is the licensed attorney with the requisite knowledge who also happens to have personality for radio. I mean, you got to have that certain je ne sais quoi to do this, and it's not easy. So we're lucky and very fortunate that we found, Ken Henry for New York, and we found Warren Yanoff for Massachusetts and Stephanie Kalagridis for Pennsylvania. So I'm confident that God will continue to provide us all the talent we need for this segment as we knock out eventually all 50 states. And I think we're going to hit the U.S. territories after that, too, just because of the challenge. So to be part of the show, 877-943-9673. You know what? Before I even get into my monologue, Bill, you've called in. You've got a question. Let's talk to you first. Bill, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. How can I help you today?
Hi, I got a question about a trust.
Go ahead.
My mom passed away last year, and I'm the executor trustee and one of the beneficiaries. There's 7 beneficiaries, and I have a sister that's incapacitated. She's got a guardian and a conservator in South Carolina. And the only asset that went in the trust was my mom's house. I sold that, put it into a trust, and then my mom passed away January last year, and then in March the house was already sold. The money was in the trust, and I dispersed all the money. And there was 2 articles that she had in the trust. Article 13 was that no money was to go to the conservator or the guardian, and then Article 16 was that anybody incapacitated, I have the duty to hold that money and give it to my sister, for different needs, or I can designate that money to somebody else. So what I did was, when I took the money out, I gave the $36,000 to my sister, who lives in South Carolina, where my sister that's incapacitated lives. She opened up a separate bank account, while the conservator and guardian found out about the money, and they say it's their money. And so, do I have to give it to them? Is there any way I can protect my sister's money?
So a couple of follow-up questions, Bill. Number one, I would probably need to see the documents, but before I even commit to that, do you currently have counsel representing you?
No.
Okay, so without counsel, now you're in Bradenton, that's Manatee County, correct?
That's correct.
All right, is the party involved also a Manatee County resident, or are they in a different jurisdiction?
No, they're in South Carolina.
Yeah, you're going to need a South Carolina attorney. I've got some very good ones in South Carolina we've worked with in the past. So, Bill, if you give me a call at the office on Monday, I'll be happy to put you in touch with them, and they'll chat with you, tell you what you need to do. But have all those documents handy, because almost certainly that's where they're going to start, is just reviewing the documents, telling you what they say. And it's usually going to be 4 corners doctrine. You live and die by the words on the page. But I'm sorry about that situation you're in, Bill. That's unfortunate. And I think good South Carolina counsel will be your sort of Sherpa to success there, whatever, South Carolina law combined with those documents says that is.
Okay. So even though the trust was here in Florida, you have to go by South Carolina law?
Okay. Now this is getting interesting, Bill. So you said the decedent was a South Carolina resident.
No. My mom lived here in Bradenton, right across the street from me. But my sister that's incapacitated, she lives in South Carolina. And my mom was adamant about not having, the conservator and guardian get her money. It's a long story. But long story short.
Now I've got a better sense of it. I've got a better sense of it now, okay. Bill. So mom built a trust for an incapacitated sister, designed to make sure the money's earmarked for her and not able to be abused and exploited by other parties. And so
exactly.
So I see the spirit of it now. So, okay, that being the case, I've got a Sarasota office, which is not too far from where you are. And we can have you come in. I'll take a look at that. Since it's a Florida trust, I can give you a free consultation, make sure we understand exactly what it says. And then I'll be able to tell you if, whether or not you do have to tender that money, or whether or not you have a fiduciary duty specifically not to tender that money. I mean, that may be the case. It may be your duty to withhold the funds from these parties. So we need to look at the document together, Bill, and we'll come up with an answer. We'll give you a free consultation to go over that. And I'll give out the office line here in just a second. Okay.
Okay, super. Thank you so much.
Bill, thanks for listening. You too. Alrighty. 877-943-9673. If you have a question, just like Bill did, that's how you do it. You call in, we give you the best answer we can. And a very special thank you to a wonderful 86-year-old lady who happened to call into Drew Garabo show yesterday with John Sinning, and got to speak to her. But because she called into the show, the gentleman got me on the line. Apparently she was trying to contact me during Drew and John's show, calling into the station. But anyway, in that dialogue, she actually gave me the opportunity to debut our new toll-free number. So to reach the office line, we get so many demands to give out the office line. The team that handles my marketing actually came up with a new number that's even easier to remember. So to reach the office throughout the week, whether it's with a legal question, to schedule a complimentary consultation like Bill, or if it's just to get our rates on our wills that we do for $75, our power of attorneys for $95, our living will for $50, or our trust packages for non-taxable estates. Those are less than $13.6 million estates for $695. That number now is 844-PATRICK. That's all you got to do. Call 844-PATRICK, and they will be happy to get you on the line. And a very special thank you again to Patrice for calling into Drew and John's show to give me the opportunity to debut the number during that 2 o'clock hour. Also, want to say a very special happy birthday. I promised this young lady I would say this to her. Dolores is celebrating her 76th birthday today. So I promised Dolores I would tell her happy birthday. Dolores, happy birthday. I hope you enjoy it and enjoy celebrating your 76 years on this planet. And here's to at least 76 more for you. So to be part of the show, 877-943-9673. I want to do a follow-up piece. We did a show, and Yumiko, we're gonna need that clip handy, so we'll go ahead and get that queued up. And oh, by the way, for those of you watching on Facebook, Facebook's up, YouTube is up, but if you are a regular Instagram listener, we are not up on Instagram today, and it is 100% my fault. I upgraded my phone this week, and the particular, Yumiko, what's that device called?
USB.
And it's currently, we have the proper tool, but it's in a locked office,
Right.
and we don't have a key for that office. Now you're trying to get in actively as we speak, right, Yumiko?
I really am. yes.
How's that coming?
Not well.
Okay.
Not well at all.
All right. So Yumiko's trying to break down the door. It's not going well. But we're currently trying to get Instagram back up and running, but probably not this week. Probably next week we'll have that up for you guys. So our apologies to those of you who are regular Instagram viewers of the show. And we do appreciate all you who take the time to watch the show. A couple weeks ago, we had a wonderful gentleman from my home county, Polk County, named Jim, call in. And he said, "Hey, I got a letter from the Department of Justice, and I want to know, I don't know if it's legitimate. I don't know if it's a scam." And basically, I think the clip kind of explains it. So let's just start with the clip, Yumiko. It's a little longer than how long's the clip total, Yumiko? Because I don't like playing long audio. How long is it?
It's 1 minute and 11 seconds.
All right, we'll deal with 1 minute and 11 seconds. That's about a minute longer than I want to play. But anyway, you got to listen to the clip. It'll set up kind of what the concern was that Jim from Polk County called in with, as far as his concern about whether or not this correspondence that bears the U.S. Department of Justice logo on their behalf, whether or not, and what's the source? I think this is WFLA. Is that right? The source?
Correct.
Correct. WFLA, their news clip. And Yumiko, just go ahead and play the clip.
Anytime your personal information is involved in a data breach, it's concerning. But when you hear about it from the U.S. Department of Justice, well, that's next level, folks. And this letter is legitimate. It is not a scam. Viewers are receiving letters like this with the DOJ logo in the upper right-hand corner. It tells them their personal information was compromised through a data breach at a DOJ contractor. That contractor, Greylock, McKinnon and Associates, provides support service in civil lawsuits for the DOJ. Now, what lawsuits or legal cases may be involved here are not known. The Justice Department has not commented on this incident. This breach through a ransomware attack was discovered back in May of 2023, almost a year ago. The letter indicates that Social Security numbers, birth dates, Medicare numbers, health insurance, and driver's license numbers of more than 340,000 people may have been compromised. And that's a pretty good haul for an identity thief. Victims are now being offered free identity theft protection services being outlined in the letter for 1 year, and they're being encouraged to get free copies of their credit report. The information on how to do all of that is contained in the letter. I'm Brian Roach on your side, WGAL News 8.
All right, so there's the clip. And that sort of did a great job sort of summarizing the concern. So we did a deep dive into it. And like I said, we found that clip. So the letter is legitimate, and this party operates on behalf or as a third party contractor for DOJ, apparently. Third party cybersecurity specialist is the technical term. And here's the offer. But here's a little trick to it. So there's an 800 number. So I called the number and I just sort of pretended like I had gotten one of these letters and sort of I had a little back and forth with them. And I said, okay, so you're giving away this. You're not selling anything. That's correct. And that was the gist of the call. We're not selling you anything. And I said, okay, so you're giving away 12 months of free cybersecurity. I said, so at the end of the 12 months, it just stops. They said, well, not exactly. And I said, well, what do you mean by that? They said, well, after 12 months, you start paying for it. I said, well, it doesn't say that. And so it just says I get 12 months for free. Well, you need to call and cancel it, was what I was told in the call. And so the gist of it is it's not a scam per se, but be aware of that if you do sign up for this. Apparently it's such that it's according to the information I was told in the call that I made. It's something you do need to terminate, or as I understood it, otherwise there could be charges after the 12-month period. So yeah, so very, very tricky situation. While not a scam, a little tricky. So just wanting to do a follow-up piece about that. Thank Jim for bringing it to our attention, and we enjoyed researching this one, and hope that helps you with your education. If you've got such a letter, and you do sign up for that free year, just mark it on your calendar to make sure you terminate and don't incur any charges unless you want to. So just be aware of that, and you can probably firm all that up with them when you sign up as well. 877-943-9673 to be part of the show. I'm Attorney Patrick Smith. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. Let's now go to our next caller, Brian in Newport Richey. Brian, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. How can I help you today?
Yes, good morning, Patrick. My mother was incarcerated. She's 74 years old, and she was incarcerated for 10 years until 2020. The problem is my dad threw away all of her stuff. She has no driver's license. She was born in Kentucky in a home with no record of birth. And she has not been able to get a driver's license. She has a Social Security card. She has her prison ID. I didn't know the avenues that, because obviously she can't fly. She can't, do anything like that without a driver's license. I didn't know what avenue that we needed to take in order to be able to get that for her.
What's your mom's first name, Brian?
Charlotte.
It just sounds like this ought to be, and I'm not trying to make light of it, but it just sounds so much like it should be a country and western song called The Ballad of Charlotte. I mean, the facts are just so rich. So your mother, 74, incarcerated. Do you mind telling everybody what the charges were that she allegedly did?
She was an accountant, and it was embezzlement.
Okay.
So she was in prison from 2012 until 2020.
All right. So it was a white collar crime, and she had the charges were federal or state up in Kentucky?
No, it was in Florida because we moved to Florida a long time ago.
Okay. So she has no ID. She has no anything. I think she needs to start with just getting her ID back. And if she can't get a driver's license, I think it's just getting a state issued ID and starting from there. Now she has Social Security, like as far as a number, you said she just doesn't have the card, correct?
Well, no, she has the card. She gets Social Security, for being retired.
Uh-huh.
But the only thing she has is a prison ID. Would she be able to get, because they told her she can't get anything.
Who's they?
Because the DMV.
She can't. So they said she can't get even like a government issued ID card. And what was their reason for that? What did they say she needed to provide to get the government issued ID card?
Birth certificate, proof of birth.
And so she has no proof of birth at all. Like there was none issued. Do you remember? Was she born in a hospital?
She was born in a home.
Okay.
Yeah, a small farm town in Kentucky. So it is like a country western town.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
So I don't know. I've never had that case where we hadn't, I mean, obviously they're alive and they were born. So it's basically going back and reproducing what I would do if I was you, Brian, and we'll be happy to walk you through this because I really want to know the answer to this question myself. So you're born and like in a Native American kind of culture where there may not be like a lot of documentation because some of our family is Native American, and I can understand that why you wouldn't have documentation. So how do you recreate that? And I think the answer probably lies with an agency here in Florida called the Bureau of Vital Statistics. If you've ever had a loved
Okay.
one pass away, you'll notice that when they issue a death certificate, that's the agency that issues that. But it's not just the Bureau of Death Certificates, it's the Bureau of Vital Statistics. So my guess would be if you reached out to the Bureau of Vital Statistics next week and said, hey, I don't have a birth certificate. I don't have any record. I just need to create one because one was never issued. It would shock me if there's not some procedure. It's probably going to be a series of like affidavits and names and addresses and parties involved just to firm up the facts. But I'm guessing there has to be a procedure for that, Brian.
And that's one of the problems too, is her two siblings, her sisters have passed, and obviously her mother has passed. So she has nobody that can confirm her birth.
So in the probate process now, there's something quite common that is often being required by judges called an affidavit of heirs. And that's where you basically have to give this family tree. And it may not be, exhaustive, but you have to give some indication of the family to sort of firm up how everybody's connected to the decedent. It's probably going to be something like that. You don't need everybody to be alive now, but you're going to need to indicate how this particular person fit into that puzzle. Does that make sense, Brian?
Yes, sir.
All right.
No, that makes completely sense.
I'm doing just a quick Google search and just to see. Birth less than 125 years old are confidential. Births less than 125 years old. I have a feeling if you're more than 125 years old, we'd already know who you are. So there's not a lot of, so it's probably going to be there in the Bureau. We'll have to do a little follow-up research, but we'll walk down this path with you. Call the office line next week, Brian, and it's 844-PATRICK, and we will kind of guide you through it. But the Bureau of Vital Statistics is where I would start if I was you. Call them on Monday, kind of explain the situation, and we'll research it right along with you. And between all of that, we'll come up with some kind of solution. Okay.
Yes, sir. And that number to your office is 844.
PATRICK 844-PATRICK.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, and I do listen every week.
Well, Brian, we appreciate your
I love
faithful
your program.
listenership. I appreciate, and you're confirming what my marketing team was telling me this past week. They were showing me the numbers for the website, and first-time visitors for all of last year, we're already 22% beyond the entire year for 2023 in the first 3 months of 2024. So, and it's great listeners like you that are doing that. So, Brian, thank you for being such a faithful listener of the show and for calling in today. We really appreciate it.
Yes, sir, Mr. Smith, and thank you so much for all you do for us.
I appreciate that, Brian. Have a great day. Okay.
You as well.
877-943-9673 to be part of today's show. 877-943-9673. Yeah, interesting question. I'm going to make a note now to do a follow-up on that, on the birth certificate question with Brian. All right. And before we go to Tony, I'm going to do another. So we started off the show talking about the Department of Justice follow-up regarding the apparent scam that's not a scam, but does have that sort of tricky point about the 12 months free and then you need to cancel. Otherwise, month 13 can trigger some charges potentially. So you want to make sure you sort of explore that or monitor it or make sure you're aware of those charges before they start to incur. That was in light of the data breach and this free software monitoring to protect you in light of the data breach on behalf of this third-party servicer for the Department of Justice. But in that same vein, apparently in actual scam news, SunPass has issued a message, and this comes directly from SunPass. It says, to our valued SunPass customers, please note that SunPass does not ask customers via text to make a payment or to make immediate action on their account. If SunPass needs to contact its customers, it will appear as follows, and it's an email address, and it's customerservice@sunpass.com or no reply@sunpass.com. So SunPass has been made aware that there is a phishing scam, this continues on in the email, targeting the general public. To our knowledge, SunPass has not been compromised, and we are diligently monitoring the system. The scam uses text messages requesting prompt payment. Yeah, anytime there's an urgency, that's usually a pretty significant red flag that it's a scam, to avoid fees. The messages also contain a link to a fraudulent website in an attempt to collect information. These messages are not sent by SunPass. Sincerely, SunPass Customer Service Care Center. All right, so there's your scam of the week, basically, the new scam. And that kind of reminds me a little bit of the fake parking ticket scam we had going on, where they would send out messages saying, hey, pay the parking ticket. And it's always like the deadline is either the day you get the letter or the next day, and you got to pay it right away to this third party side. And it's not actually a parking ticket or anything. You're basically just making a donation to these scammers who are sending you these correspondences pretending to be some sort of entity, citing you for a parking violation. So you can always just do a quick Google search for that jurisdiction. That was the solution on that one, guys. Say you get something from a city, just Google, where do I pay a fine for a parking ticket in this city? You'll find the actual site and you'll see that this one is very likely a scam. So, all right, to be part of the show, 877-943-9673. Give us a call with your legal question, 877-943-9673. I'm Attorney Patrick Smith. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. Let's go to our next caller. Let's go to St. Pete. Let's talk to Tony. Tony, thank you for your patience. How can we help you today?
Oh, good morning.
Good
Thank
morning.
you for taking my call.
Sure, Tony.
I have a unique situation. I am probating an estate in New York, but one of the recipients is down here in Florida.
Okay.
And that recipient is incarcerated. So I have been trying to find out, or wanted to find out, can a prisoner in Florida State Prison receive inheritance?
I don't know why they couldn't. My concern there would be, number one, before I get into this, Tony, are you represented by counsel on this?
Yes.
So you're going to have to reach out to your attorney. I can't step on the toes of another attorney.
No, I don't want you to. I don't want you to do that. I'm just getting information. I have an estate lawyer in New York. I'm doing all of this, but I like to know.
Yeah.
Myself
so,
also.
So I actually can't answer your question for those two reasons. One, it's outside of my jurisdiction. It's a New York State question. So you need to ask your New York State attorney. And then the second fact is you have an attorney. So my instruction to you is ask your attorney, because it's a specific question you need to direct to your attorney. However, if this were a Florida case that I was doing for someone, there's generally no restriction. I mean, someone incarcerated can receive an inheritance. The question is, should they? And a lot of times people who are incarcerated are under what we call restitution orders. And those now you know what I'm talking about. Is there a restitution order involved here?
No, that's not involved. I was reading, I can't remember the name of the actual, I don't know if you call it a citation or the law. It was
the indictment that charged the party? Yeah.
No. The Florida, it's called a Florida Inmate Trust Fund. And it was breaking down, all of the not all of the situations, but just the circumstances on what the inmate can do, what they can't do. I was actually kind of surprised that they could even open a bank account.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of blended. You're straddling state lines. So if you won't, reach out to your New York attorney, have them reach out to me, and I'll talk A to B with them. And basically, and if you want to be in that call, Tony, of course you can join us, obviously. But we're going to start with the New York State documents and see what they say, because that is the anchor. The documents one, and then anything those documents don't do, New York State law is going to fill in the background, and then Florida law would come into play for any disbursement. So it's going to be kind of tricky. It's a timing question. It's a jurisdictional question. It's going to be a lot of fun to unpack this, but I'll need to talk to the New York State attorney to sort of fully answer your question. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Do you mind sharing, before you ask your last question, do you mind sharing what were the charges the party allegedly did?
No, I don't want to share that.
All right, that's fine. Go ahead. What's your next question?
Oh, you were talking about scam, not a scam.
Yeah.
Recently, and I'm quite sure there's a ton of people listening. The federal government had a program called I think it's called ACP, the Affordable Communications Program, where they gave a subsidy for internet access, and all of the communication companies, they were able to offer the customer like a $30 rebate or reduction on their internet bill. That's coming to an end. And I thought it was funny. Spectrum sent me a letter saying that, oh, this is coming to an end, but being just such a good customer, we're going to offer you a mobile phone line that would have cost you $30 a month, but it'll be free for 12 months. And of course, they don't say after the 12 months are over, you're going to start paying for it.
Yeah, and that's the tricky part. I mean, it's like remember Sirius XM contracts?
Oh yeah,
So it was always you had to call and be like, I'm canceling my contract, and they're like, well, instead of paying $100 a month, how do you feel about $9 a month? And you have to play that dance with them because it's only for a year. You got to call them. If you forget, then they hit you for the big charge. It appears that SiriusXM's finally changed their policies, and it's just now the one flat rate, and they keep it locked in. You don't have to worry about that year expiring, and that's I think that's just good business. But no, I appreciate you announcing that, Tony, so people can be aware of that, so they can monitor it, so know when that free trial period's over, so you can be aware of it. And just have your New York attorney reach out to me next week, and we'll get to the bottom of that question regarding the inheritance to an incarcerated individual. Okay.
And that's 877 Patrick.
844 Patrick.
Oh, 844. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, 844 Patrick is the office line. Give me a call there. Have your attorney give me a call there, and we'll get to the bottom of it. Okay.
Yeah, and as the previous caller said, keep up the good work. We definitely enjoy your show. And it's been informative.
Listen, I love doing it, especially when we get so much appreciation for the show from great listeners like you, Tony, and the messages pour in, and the people coming into the office. It's fantastic, and I'm going to keep doing it as long as you guys stay as awesome as you are, and I enjoy doing this. And Tony, thank you for calling in and being part of the show today. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir. All righty. 877-943-9673. That's your toll-free number to be part of today's show. The toll-free office line, 844-PATRICK. And Tony hanging up does open up the phone line. So if you're trying to get through, give us a call now, 877-943-9673. I do want to talk a little bit about the rates. That came up again several times this week. Party saying I was quoted by someone else. It was a much higher fee. And I can't speak to other attorneys' rates and why they charge what they charge, but I can tell you what I charge and why I charge it. So our basic will is $75. A power of attorney, which generally covers financial powers, healthcare powers, pre-need guardian designation. That's a $95 document at my office. The living will is $50. And the trust package for non-taxable estates, those are estates under 13.6 million. We do that for $695. That includes the trust, pour-over wills, power of attorneys, healthcare surrogates, and the living wills, along with the deed for any homesteaded property. And you can take advantage of that. That's the single person's rate. For married couples doing the same thing, there's actually no additional charge. We don't charge married couples any additional, given how little additional work it is when they're doing the same plan. I mean, like a first marriage, 50 years, leaving everything to the two kids, 50-50, that sort of scenario, doing a trust together. No reason to require an additional charge. It gets a little iffy, and we do require additional charges when it's like a blended family. It's his trust, her separate trust. There's a prenup because there was life before they got married. That's typically when they each do their own separate trust. So obviously they would each pay $695 in that scenario, but a married couple doing everything together, one fee of $695. So if you want to call to schedule your complimentary consultation, we're happy to meet with you at any of our office locations, including Sarasota, which is by far rapidly becoming one of our most popular office locations. Sun City Center, also very, very popular there. We're booked way out. Clearwater, Claremont, any of those locations. One toll-free number, 844-PATRICK, 844-PATRICK. All right, let's go to, next we're going to talk to Dixie in Trinity. Dixie, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Dixie. How can we help you?
My phone was stolen,
Oh, I'm sorry.
and with that went my identity. Since that happened, they're trading Bitcoin through my Venmo account.
Mhm.
And I've notified, and I went to the police station and filed, fraud report with Venmo, but they keep allowing the criminal back in my account.
Really?
You know, even though yes, even though I've asked for that my account be closed, you know, I've made, 100 phone calls plus the report I filed. And what happened is I mean, these are probably very professional criminals. They have access to all my emails. They shut down my Facebook account. They've compromised everything I have in Google. I have a new phone, and I think it's compromised now. Um, they've applied, for loans to purchase things on Amazon. They've applied to Hard Rock Cafe betting for loans. I have a very good credit rating.
Have you checked with the credit bureaus and pulled your reports recently?
I haven't pulled my reports, but I did notify. But the real problem here is, when you, like, we tried to shut down the Google account. I mean, we spent like hours and, unbelievable amount of time.
You said we.
And you
Who's been helping you with this?
Well, it was just my friend. I didn't have any professional, but we would shut down my Google account and all my emails, and then you could see them go right behind us and restart them. We report that it's fraudulent activity, closed permanently, but it doesn't matter. They just keep doing it.
Now, is Venmo's tethered to one of your bank accounts? That's correct?
Yes, I went to my bank and filed a fraud report.
What about just closing that bank account and opening a new one?
Close it. Okay.
That might be, so if Venmo's not listening, and you may want to just I don't know if you can find a physical mailing address for Venmo, but if you can, send them a certified letter and a regular letter saying, hey, terminate all my accounts, and tell them the story, sort of the dragnet version of the story, just the facts, ma'am, and lay it out, close everything, send a certified letter. That way you get that return receipt. But then, since it's continuing to happen, if it's tethered to a particular bank account, just pull all that money out, open a different account. You may want to go to a completely different bank. And that way you just separate yourself altogether from that prior entity. And at least that'll insulate you from Venmo trying to dip into that account again.
Okay. I guess my big, when I go on the internet, I'm not sure, if I have a legitimate site or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to find, what is the best protection for your identity going forward?
Yeah, there's a debtor creditor attorney that I've worked with for years. His name's Don Peterson. And if you call me at the office next week at 844-PATRICK, I'll put you in touch with Don. And I would start with him because I know he does a lot of debtor creditor work, which sort of pairs naturally with identity theft. And because there's a lot of cases where someone's being sent creditor claims and it's not them. It's a case of misidentification. So it sort of does overlap a little bit, and I'll let Don kind of speak to the specifics, but I'll give you his information, put you in touch with him, and he'll probably be able to put you on a path to success and see if there's any sort of legal remedy for this. You said you have filed a police report, correct, Dixie?
Yes, but the police, what happened is Venmo was there's like $4,900 in my Venmo account, which I wasn't using it at all. And they're laundering money for Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
So Venmo has been able to capture that money. I don't know where it came from or anything. And now I have $400 in my Venmo account, and they said they're capturing that as well. But it just seems like, you call these companies and you tell them the problem, you file a complaint, and they drop the ball.
Yeah. Wow.
And they're I can actually see where this person is coming back into my account, keeping my original email, and he's compromised that. And he puts in another email, and I've written fraud, delete the account immediately.
Yeah,
and then
I would switch email. I would switch email servers. I would just separate yourself from this as much as possible. It sounds, Dixie, like you're taking every reasonable precaution. I think at this point, you're just going to have to separate yourself.
Any new email I take is compromised. And
so you may need to. So what you may need to do is just wipe all your devices. And maybe switch to brand new devices, set up new emails on new servers, and just basically, if any of your, servers or anything in the home was used during the time when you were being scammed, wipe it all and then start
Yeah.
fresh with a new server and new devices. And then there's no way they could hack into that or tap into that if you're going to set up
Well, I
something
have a
completely.
new phone.
Okay.
I have a new phone, but I'm already getting security alerts on it.
Yeah. The other thing is too, your paranoia because of this, the trauma from having you're going to be hypersensitive. So even if something minor happens that's not a result of any security breach, you're going to have a tendency to think it is a security breach, and that's completely reasonable, Dixie.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sorry you're dealing with that, but yeah, give me a call
Well,
next week, and I'll put you in touch with Don. But as far as the technological side, you may just need to bring in like a technology expert or reach out to one of these cybersecurity companies and sort of see what they say as far as wiping everything, so that you make sure that you get out of any software that if encrypted on any devices or servers or anything like that.
Can I ask you a quick question? I don't know if you know the answer to
Sure.
this because it's probably not your area's expertise.
Sure.
But, my other phone, can they connect the other phone to my new phone?
I have no idea.
Oh,
You're right
okay.
about that, but I'm quite comfortable saying I don't know after 42 years on this earth. So
Well, I appreciate that.
no, but if you call me, I know people who
That's a
do
sign
know
of
the answer.
intelligence.
Yeah, I do know the people who do know those answers, so I can put you in touch with them. They're not lawyers; they're more technologically savvy, but I know those companies.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah, just give me a
I'm
call
just
at the
reaching
office.
out to Strong.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I'll put you in touch with the
This is
people
a
who handle
totally
my IT at the office, and they do an amazing
Okay.
job, and they should be able to answer your
Oh,
questions.
that'd be great. This is way out of my field. I know nothing about this stuff.
Yeah, me
Okay,
too,
well,
Dixie. Yeah, me too. But
you've been amazing. I really
well,
appreciate your help.
you're being kind, and I appreciate that, Dixie. And we'll stick with you through this. And I'm excited to get you on the other side of it, so you can breathe easy and have peace of mind. Okay, Dixie?
Okay, now the number I just dialed is the same number I call for your office, correct?
No, the number you just dialed was the studio line. The number for the office is 844 PATRICK 844 Patrick.
Can you give me the numbers or?
Yeah, I don't have them handy. What is that,
okay.
Yumiko? What is Patrick if we go by the numbers? So let me see.
I don't want to lose you.
Yeah, I don't want you to lose me either. So let's see. 844, that would be 728 7425.
Perfect.
All
Thank you
right.
so much.
You're welcome, Dixie.
So
Have
I
a great
can
day.
call you probably Monday?
Yeah, I'll be in the office Monday. Give me a call then. The office line's open at 8 a.m. and we'll be returning calls right away.
Oh, wonderful. Thank
right.
you so much.
You're welcome,
I really,
Dixie.
really appreciate it.
Happy
Thank
to
you.
help. Bye-bye.
Bye.
877-943-9673. Another action-packed show here on the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. For those of you just joining us, welcome. We've covered the Department of Justice cyber breach free security software for a year that you pay for after the year, correspondence that that listener Jim received. We've also gone over the SunPass phishing scam and the email that SunPass sent out addressing said scam. And of course, we've been taking your calls. So if you have a call, 877-943-9673. Give us a call now. We're live and local. Next, we're going to go to a very patient Joanne in Hudson. Joanne, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. How can we help you today?
Yes. I used to live in Illinois. I live down here now. And in 1984, I filed for my divorce. My husband lived in Georgia. And I thought I got my divorce because when I went to court and I have the divorce papers showing where it was filed in Illinois in October the 12th in 1984. But my ex-husband recently died. And I guess my daughter was starting the probate. And she called me and asked me if I had divorce papers. And I said, sure, I'm sure your dad has them there too. And she said, well, she wasn't going to tear up the house looking for them. So I sent a copy to her. And she had checked with the state of Illinois. And they told her they didn't have any record of it. And they would check more and I guess get back to her. And she said that when they did, I guess there was no record of our divorce in Illinois. So does that mean I'm still legally married to them?
I don't know. Do you remember the name of the attorney? You don't have to say it, but do you remember the name of the attorney involved?
In Illinois?
Yes, ma'am.
it's on the divorce papers. Yes,
So,
it's on
so,
the letter.
so what I would do is reach out to that attorney, and hopefully they still have a copy. Or if that attorney's retired, the inventory attorney that took over for them, or the successor who took over for that practice, hopefully they have a copy, and you're able to secure a copy through the attorney's office. And you have two there. You should have had an attorney representing you and one representing your husband. So
Yes, he has.
yeah, so you got two shots there of trying to get a copy of those divorce papers to confirm that you are in fact divorced. But do you remember signing the divorce papers?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
They,
odds are
yeah,
you're divorced. It's probably just so long ago that we can't find the records. But like I said, reach out to the attorney's office. It is also possible that they never got taken care of properly, and you may still be legally married. So both are, but you want to know that. So I would reach out to the two attorneys' practices, and hopefully they have records in the file there.
oh, okay.
Is your ex-husband still alive?
No, he passed away, and
I'm sorry.
yeah, and I'm 88.
Well,
So
the administrator for his estate may have to call his former divorce attorney because of attorney-client privilege rules. They probably won't turn it over to you, but you can call your attorney and ask for a copy from them. Okay.
Yeah, he was back then. I mean, he was old back then, but so I'm sure maybe, like you say, maybe his practice is still active.
Oh, the attorney was old back then. I thought you were talking about your husband.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right.
Yeah.
Well, just I'm sure the practice, or there was a successor or something as far as records.
Sure.
So yeah. All right. So great question, Joanne. And what's the weather like in Hudson today?
Oh, beautiful.
Good. Well, enjoy Hudson, and thanks for calling into the show. I appreciate it, Joanne. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Keep me posted. 877-943-9673. It's also curious if that happened back in the 80s. Why are we just thinking about it, 40 years later? That's a curious question. I should have asked Joanne. 877-943-9673. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. I'm your host, Attorney Patrick Smith. Again, to reach me at the law office for your complimentary consultation or to book us to come and speak to your club, group, or organization, 844-PATRICK, 844-Patrick. All right, next we're going to go to Mary in Sarasota. Mary, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. How can I help you today?
Listen, I talked to you a little bit over a year ago one time, and somebody made a call real quick to my ex-son-in-law, and they recognized my voice. That got me in a lot of trouble, but it was the truth, and I don't care. Anyway, I have a question to ask you. We're still in family discord and the whole routine. I live alone. I am indigent. After working in the field, for like 50 years, the healthcare field, and then also a military spouse. But that didn't get me kudos anywhere. My family have nothing to do with me, do not want anything to do with me. They all do well. They had nice jobs, nice retirements, nice homes, the whole routine. Have nothing to do with me. I get no phone calls back with, a little, hello, how are you doing, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, what my question is, I have no technology, no nothing. Thank God after that other phone call you had. I can't afford the Xfinity TV. That's too expensive. I look at a black screen right now.
Hey, Mary, I'm not trying to rush you. I'm coming up on the top of the end of the show. So can you just,
okay, what I want to do, I want to put in writing my thoughts and what I don't want to happen upon my demise. I'm 85 years old.
Well, you sound wonderful for 85. Yeah, just put it in writing. And if you want to memorialize it in a will or trust, call your attorney. Or if you don't have an attorney,
do
call
I have
us.
to have it in something else or in probate and all that kind of stuff? I don't have any money to do all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, so you're basically just doing you're just doing a simple will with your instructions. And we can walk you through that. We'll give you a free consultation, Mary. It won't cost you anything, and tell you how best to memorialize that. Okay.
Okay. All
right.
righty.
All right. Have a great day, Mary. Anna, Anna, I want to go to you. I've got 30 seconds. Anna, can you make your comment about the Department of Justice letter quick?
Yes, I received the letter and I thought, was it real? I don't remember what you said. I turned in too late to hear.
Yeah, we played the news clip. It is a legitimate letter. It is a legitimate offer, but it's for those 12 months. And what I was told when I called the 800 number, you have to end it at the 12 months. It doesn't end automatically, or you do start to get charged. That's what I was told. So legitimate offer. Yeah, that was according to WFLA. They did a story on it, and we played the clip, and that's the follow-up to it. So not a scam, but a little tricky about canceling, okay? All righty.
Okay.
Anna, you enjoy the rest of your
All
day. I got to wrap up the show, okay?
Thank you.
All righty. So thank you, everyone. And thank you for making the show the success that it is, guys. We really appreciate all you out there in the Attorney Patrick Smith Show Nation. Jim from Gulfport, hang on the line. I'll talk to you off the air. The office line to talk to me during the week, 844-PATRICK, 844-PATRICK. To talk to me next week live on the air, 877-943-9673. This is Attorney Patrick Smith signing off saying God bless, stay safe, and go Gators.